And I'm going to violate some of my own rules. People ask me about how do you run, what do you do? Well, I say, don't read your remarks. Well, I prepared remarks because I thought, gosh, you know, I'm 71, I'm standing up here, I got to pee, and I'm going to forget what I was going to say. First, let me assure you that because you don't have slides, I'm not going to show you what I look like at 6 o'clock in the morning, looking out the window with my wife taking a picture of me from the backside. As I'm sure you all probably would like to know what a curmudgeon looks like from the backside at 6 in the morning, looking out the window from a spousal perspective. If anybody really wants to see it, Sonia has it, but she said no. We're not going to go there. So, I wanted to define what a curmudgeon is in a typical perspective: an ill-tempered and frequently old, fits most of us, person full of stubborn ideas and opinions. Now, do we have any spouses in here who may have that opinion of their husband from time to time? Who doesn't, by the way? Probably do. Well, I have one who thinks that this applies from time to time. You only have to put up with me once a year. She does it, has done it for 43 years, ladies and gentlemen. My wife made that. Back in April, we had the privilege of being on the Coastal Symphony, and as you know, they have speakers. On that particular 2-week cruise was Alan Simpson, a former senator from Wyoming that many of you have heard at either AMA or otherwise. I love him dearly, a wonderful rock on tour, and I told him that I was going to be anointed as the latest curmudgeon of my specialty society in Boston in October. And he said, well, let me tell you what a curmudgeon is. And I like this one better. Anyone who hates hypocrisy and pretense and has the temerity to say so. Anyone with the habit of pointing out unpleasant facts in an engaging and humorous manner. I like that one better. I think that fits all the prior curmudgeons in a better fashion in the way that we intended it here. It's been my custom from the time that I wrote ACEP presidential messages for ACEP or gave speeches, to tell a story. Some of you from California may remember some of the early ones, such as, you know, even in your town, the water comes right up to the shore. I improved after that. Later speeches, those of you who were around in September of '86, when I returned from Germany, coming back to my past president's speech, I'd been to a castle, Wilkeborg Castle, where Johann Sebastian Bach had first gotten the key from the last organist that began his career. And I talked about how important the key is, how often you, as emergency physicians, have been given a key of life, or going to college, or being a doctor, and how many times in your life, every day of your life, that you give somebody the key of life. It was around that long ago, I don't remember. And then a few years ago, I had the privilege of being in town for the Wittgenstein event. And if you recall, I even sang to you, if you recall that one, row your boat. I won't know the rest of it. But it was about rowing your boat. And there was a message in there about how to be successful in life as an emergency physician rowing your boat. Well, today, I've got another story to tell briefly. And I've been looking for inspiration, something that I could share that would apply. And it's somewhat of a fairy tale. I saw it on the airplane recently. Once upon a time, in a small little kingdom, many years ago, there lived a merchant and his wife and his daughter Ella. They had an idyllic sort of a life. But in her adolescent years, Ella's mother called her to her bedside and said, I'm leaving soon, and there are a couple things that I want you to always remember. And that is to have courage and to be kind. Well, she She dies, and some years later, the husband asks Ella if it'd be okay if he got another wife. He did. Hell on Wheels arrives with two daughters who were even worse. She sustains a lot of egregious activity, but she always has courage, and she remains kind. One day, a particularly egregious day, she flees on a horse. The horse takes off, she can't stop it. A handsome man comes by and catches this horse and stops it. He's on a stag hunt, and they circle each other on horses, and you can see they're trying to love instantly in this mix. They don't know who each other are. He goes back to the castle and tells his father, the king, that he wants to marry for love. The king says, you're going to marry for advantage, or advance the kingdom. He says, well, maybe, but first, we're going to try to find this person. Okay, we're going to have a ball. They invite every princess in the kingdom to come to the ball. They all come. The stepmother, of course, forbids Ella, who's now Cinderella, to come to the ball. Until the fairy godmother approaches with some magic. And as you know, the pumpkin becomes the carriage, the visitors and the others, and they all run off in this wonderful carriage for this gorgeous woman to the ball. She descends into the ballroom, and the prince, of course, spots her, and they dance magnificently. Everybody in that room is in awe of this beautiful couple as they do their thing, as nurses and patients and doctors on your medical staff are of you every time that you go to work. Now this is a magical thing, and as you know, at midnight, at the last long midnight spell is broken, the magic is over, and she hears the first bell as she runs out and runs away to get back in her carriage, drops a slipper, a glass slipper, on the way, which the prince retrieves. She goes back off, and of course the last long goes, and the pumpkin becomes a pumpkin again, and the mice become mice again rather than horses, and she is returned to her rags, except for the glass slipper. Well, the king agrees that marrying for love would be okay rather than an advantage. You could perhaps find this person. So they search the kingdom high and low, and in the last house in the kingdom, they're there and they haven't found it, but the group hears this voice, marvelous voice, singing from up somewhere in the attic. And they want to know who that is. Stepmother and sisters, no other worthy person in this house. They persist, and of course the shoe that has failed to fit in every other woman in the kingdom fits this person. And so she says to him, will you take me as I am, an honest girl with no parents and no dowry, as we do every day in our emergency departments? No shirts, no shoes.
Full service.
And he says, only if you will take me as I am, an apprentice still learning his trade, as we do every day of our professional lives as we drink from that fire hose called emergency medicine, CME. So I admonish you, as Ella's mother did to her, be kind, have courage, and all will be well. You can see the world not as it is, but as it could be, and occasionally with just a little bit of magic. Thank you very much for the honor.